Yeah, thank you very much. Let me first tell you that I combine two perspectives. The first one is the academic perspective. Since I'm at the Reuters Institute, we're doing comparative research on journalism. We publish the world's biggest study on digital news consumption, the Digital News Report, that's based on 70,000 respondents in 36 countries. Lots of interesting data in there. But I've also an industry perspective because I've been a journalist all my professional life. Just quit at Süddeutsche Zeitung as a managing editor of Süddeutsche Zeitung in July. So I also have a newsroom perspective on fake news. Actually, there's not many topics I've spoken to in recent weeks and months as often as on fake news, because this is really where the interest is. But very often this is sort of mixed up because we have to distinguish between fake news as a political slur that's used by the President of the United States to diminish media and really erode trust in media just by telling broader audiences this is all fake news, what they're doing. And the other side is fake news as in lies, or, partly lies, fabricated news, or twisted content, or content used in the wrong context. So that's the other part of fake news that is really fake, or at least twisted. Actually, people and audiences, they're not stupid. They really know that there's lots of fake news out there, lots of stuff they can't trust on social media. In fact, our digital news report found that only 24% of all respondents, on average of all 36 countries, think that social media is doing a really good job in separating fact from fiction. So that means 76% have their doubts about that, and they think, well, there might be some facts, there might be some fiction. And it's a variety of obviously, in some countries, there's more trust in social media than in others. So that could be good news for traditional media that are, vital part of maintaining democracy, as you've heard so far. But actually, our digital news report revealed that only 40% of respondents think that traditional media is doing a great job in separating fact from fiction. So you could say, well, 40% believe in traditional media, 24% believe in social media, so that's really a big advantage for traditional media. But think of it the other way around. 60% of respondents think that traditional media is not doing a very good job in separating fact from fiction. And so that means that more than half don't trust anybody, neither media. So what does that mean? That's really bad, because if you don't trust anybody, you don't really know where your news, where you should get your news to be a citizen in a democratic society. So that's really a tough one. And also it has another consequence that we also established in the news report, because actually news avoidance is on the rise. 29%, I'm sorry about all these numbers, but it's just sort of around 1/3, 29% of respondents regularly avoid the news. So that's every third person thinks, well, I'd rather not, watch TV or look in the newspaper, whatever. And why is that? Well, because they also say, well, this puts me in a bad mood. That's the major response to that. Or also because they just don't believe what's in there and they feel news might be slanted. So you have people avoid news, and also even if you have this skepticism I was talking about earlier, that people are really not certain if it's true or not, even if they know that information might be fabricated or it's wrong, and you can see it's wrong, it's made up, there's some impact on the brain. And I mean, neuroscientists have been studying this quite a bit, and we'll have much more of these studies coming out there, because the more the stuff gets repeated, even if it's fake, even if it's lies, people share it because maybe it's just funny. They just feel, oh, this is a funny headline, I know it's fake, but I'll just share it because it's so funny. And if it's repeated all the time, then it has an impact on the brain because people remember it. They might remember it much better than they remember information that is correct and researched, because the correct information might be much more boring. So it doesn't have an influence. So really, all these tools of debunking fake news that newsrooms are developing right now, organizations are developing right now, might not have be a great effect in terms of what people remember and what they don't remember. So and actually populist parties make a lot of use of this. They just, put some extreme quotes out there, some strange quotes, and then the traditional media repeats them again and again because they're so outrageous. Well, what sticks to people's brains? The outrageous quotes. So that sometimes, I'm German, and we just had that debate after the last German election. Did the media help, making the AfD, the right-wing populist party, big by just repeating again and again their stuff? The role of platforms, the platform companies, is critical in this, because you were already talking about this, because their algorithms are actually made to repeat or to push the extreme stuff much more than they are made to push the boring stuff, because the stuff that's shared and that's sort of extreme in any sense, like extreme, it can be extremely funny or just outrageous or radical or whatever. It's shared much more because that's the mechanisms that are behind that, and because that feeds into the business model. The business model is advertising, and that relies on clicks. So if you have something that's shared widely, then people look at it. So that's good for the advertising. So that feeds the business model. So now that you have Facebook and Google, the platform companies, really worried about fake news and trying to get a grip on this. They are also the ones that that made it possible that the spread of fake news really increased that much. So for media, from the media perspective, this could all be, this is obviously threatening because it erodes trust. As I said before, it erodes trust in the media. So even that happens to me also. If I read something, I'm just, calling into question, is this information correct, or might this be made up? Is this a real quote by a real person, or has someone just shared it? And if I trust the person who shared it, I might as well share it myself because I think I trust but you never know, So it really puts some doubts in your mind. And if the media, traditional media, actually lose trust, they lose everything, because they've been struggling with business models to begin with. So if they lose trust, then it's not possible any longer to establish sustainable business models for the media, and that's a threat to democracy. But the fake news debate could also be very good for journalism, really, because it could help journalism to get even better. Because that's the big challenge of the media right now, to really train their journalists well, and actually that's what the Reuters Institute also does, not only doing great research, but also building up executive education for journalists to really make sure that they know their job. It really encourages or forces media companies to do journalism that matters and that is interesting, because they just know that, if they don't really pay attention to their audiences, they might just get ignored. And it also encourages media companies and newsrooms, which is very important, to engage with their audiences other than just talking to them or even down to them. It is used to be in the times of journalism that I also still know. So actually, this debate about fake news is a threat. It is a threat to democracy, but it could also, if journalism gets some help, it could make journalism so much better than it used to be. Thank you.
Thank you.